In this video, we're talking about masking in Lightroom. But Dave, I thought masking was only in Photoshop. Well, what you didn't know might be holding you back, but I'm gonna show you how to do it in this video. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome into the Landscape Photography University channel where we show you how to improve your landscape photography. So if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Let's jump right in. We're gonna be editing this beautiful sunrise photo from Great Smoky Mountains National Park, where we had a colliding winter frost with oncoming spring and beautiful light in the sunrise with mist hanging down in the valley. Now, here's the thing about masking. Basically, you're taking what you know in photography and you're applying it to the post-processing image. Now, a lot of people disconnect post-processing from the in-field work. When you disconnect this, you have a clear disconnect in what you're trying to achieve with your photography. When you understand that the in-field work is just as important in the post-processing work, then your photos start to shine and you're able to level up your photography into something really special. Here's what I mean by that. In this photo, the obvious subject is the tree right here in the left side of your frame, with the fog kind of coming up to frame up the tree so it's not intersecting. Now, we also have some really nice yellow color, but we also have some really nice blue tones as well, signifying winter. What I want to do is enhance what I saw in the field and what made me say, wow, this is amazing, I'm gonna take a photo. When I'm able to enhance those things in post-processing, specifically with masking in Lightroom, then your photo jumps to a new level. Just basic edits and adjustments here that we can make is actually decreasing the contrast, decreasing the highlights some, increasing the shadows a little bit, increasing the clarity some, and the vibrance and the saturation. In just that amount of time, we've made a lot of improvements to the photo. Let's see what it looks like before and after. So here's the initial shot and here's what we edited just now. So, basic edits, real quick. Now let's jump into masking. So your masking icon is going to be this dotted circle here in the top right corner of your screen. When you select that, you have a lot of options that might come up. You can easily select out your sky or your foreground. So with sky, automatically Lightroom will detect what the sky is. Now the problem with this in this photo is that the sky has a lot of fog in it too, that I don't want to be edited in this image. Now the mask itself is the white part. So everything in white is going to be edited. Everything in black is not going to be edited. This is how you seclude out your photos and only edit certain parts of the image that you want to edit. Now, even though that fog is being trapped in this white highlighted part of the mask, what I can do is actually invert the mask and easily get a fine selection of everything else outside of the sky. Really fast and easy, as tack sharp as you want it to be. So what I'm going to do is expand this mask window. I'm going to click on these three dots and I'm going to go to duplicate and invert mask. You can also go to invert mask one, but I might want to work on this mask again in the future. So I'm going to go to duplicate and inverse. So now you see everything else in the photo is now going to be edited outside of the sky. This is exactly what I wanted. I'm going to deselect show overlay now that we see what that mask actually is. And what I'm going to do here is add a significant amount of contrast. Remember, we're only editing this foreground, this land part of the photo, not the sky. So we're secluding out where we want to edit. Now, I'm also going to increase highlights and increase whites to really make a lot of that ice and frost shine. And I'm also going to decrease the shadows just slightly and decrease the blacks just slightly too. I might increase the overall exposure just a little bit, and let's bring those whites out just a little bit more, all the way up to 100. Now, when you're having these masks, you can amplify the effect a lot more than you could with just using basic adjustments, because with basic adjustments, you're editing everything in the entire photo. Masking allows you to localize an adjustment to just a single part. Think about it like your country's government. Your country government is over everything. It encapsulates everything and controls and manages, sets laws to make everybody safe, hopefully. Outside of the government, you have local governments that make little small decisions to make little communities that much better. When the local governments shine, the whole national government shines. It makes the small changes that make the big changes better. That's kind of how you need to look at your editing. Global edits are great. They make laws, regulations, rules about the entire photo, but localized adjustments make the entire photo shine. So what I'm going to do to this photo specifically is actually going to bring in a linear mask. I'm going to go up and create a new mask, and I'm going to create a linear gradient. Now, before I show you how this linear gradient works, if you're like, wow, I'm loving what I'm seeing here, I'm really enjoying, I'm learning a lot, I didn't know Lightroom could do all this, we have a full Lightroom course in Landscape Photography University where members are loving it and leveling up their photos using Lightroom. Now, if you want to drop the confusion and gain confidence with Lightroom and improve your photos in the meantime, become a member of Landscape Photography University today and gain access to that, plus 14 other courses right away that you can watch. This is hours of photography instruction right to your computer to watch whenever you want to, wherever you want to, and however quickly you want to improve your own photo goals. To become a member, click the link in the video description for a free 7-day trial and also in the pinned comment. So now with the linear gradient, what I'm going to do is pull this down. You click and drag it down into the photo. Now, here's the thing about this. We don't want it to be coming into the entire photo. I'm gonna deselect show overlay. Now that it's in the individual photo, it's coming all the way down here into the photo. I don't want it to affect the fog. I don't want it to affect this tree. I don't want it to affect these mountains. How do you get this to a point where you don't want it to be, but you do want to make the edits where you do want them? Here's how you do that. You actually do what's called intersecting the mask. So these three little dots right here, you're gonna click on those, you're gonna come down to intersect mask, and you're gonna come down to a luminance range. Now with a luminance range on intersecting the mask, you're basically choosing what luminance is going to come in here. Now I'm going to see what that looks like, and as I hover over that, you can see that now that tree is deselected from the mask if you see it on the left part of your photo. If you're not seeing that, you can click on Show Luminance Map, and it will show you where you are now editing in your luminance range. So I'm basically coming in here to where I still have sky, however, I'm still keeping it out of the fog and the trees. This is going to help me localize and select out and mask that very specific part of the photo. So with that selected, I'm going to deselect Show Luminance Map, and I'm going to deselect show overlay, and then I'm going to start working on this mask. So I'm going to darken my sky. I'm going to increase my contrast a little, decrease my highlights some, and then increase my shadows. And then I'm going to set my temperature to something that's a little bit more yellow and warm with the photo. Remember, I'm not changing how this scene looked. I'm putting it back to where I saw it with my eye instead of blowing out the sky with my camera to just white. This is what this scene actually looks like in the field. So what you're trying to do is make it as realistic as possible while pulling as much information out of that image file as possible. So that looks pretty good. I might lighten up this color just a little bit. Now to do that, I'm gonna select out my point color dropper and hover over into this yellow. And I'm going to go over to my luminance shift and brighten that up just a little bit. Now remember, I'm still only editing within that certain mask. That's the power of these masks and what you're able to do with it. Might brighten that up just a little bit more and add just a slight saturation and shift this hue to a little bit more orange, and there we have it. So here's a photo just using masking, just getting us to where we want to be. I'll show you one last little hack. So I'm gonna add a new mask here. I'm gonna come down to color range. I'm gonna select out some of these blues down here. So you can see this color range that I'm gonna be editing. Now, if I scroll all the way up, I can see this color range as this dark pale blue. I can refine that by scrolling over to the left and just editing out certain parts of that blue. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to deselect show overlay, and I'm going to work on just that blue color, adding some contrast, but I'm really going to boost the whites on this because I want that frost to really come through and shine. I'm also going to drop my temperature to make it more blue and make that winter really shine through in the photo. Now that I'm done with my masking, let's look at the before and after here to see what that actually looks like now that I've masked. And we've turned this photo from blah, really bland, really flat, into something much more dynamic and what it actually looked like in the field. This is the ability that Lightroom has. Now, if you want more Lightroom tips and tutorials, click on this playlist showing up on your screen right now.